Shabbat shalom to our on-time-ish crew. It's good to be with you all this morning. To those who are live streaming, I'm not sure who you are, but I'm happy that you're here, and I hope that we're not having any technical issues. If we are, you should be able to comment. And Emerson, our live stream helper, will be able to check it out. We also have Andrew Logan, our live stream expert, here this morning. So with Vera and Emerson and Andrew all together, we should have it down. So comment if you're having issues, and we'll figure it out. Make sure if you're here in person, you've got your Siddur and also your handout. If you are joining in virtually, before Shabbat, you can always request a Siddur, a physical copy, and also you can ask for a link to the handout, and Vera can get that for you. But we're going to begin on page 10 of our Siddurim, at the top of the page, giving thanks for the spaces, both in person and virtual, that we come together as a community and all the ways in which the various places in which we can find ourselves and get together as Jews and get ourselves together as Jews are beautiful and enrich our lives. Page 10. Speaking of place, we begin by acknowledging that most of us, I'm not sure where folks are live streaming from, but most of us are davening today on the ancestral lands of the Anacostan people. We are aware that we occupy an Anacostan homeland and that their presence is imbued in this land, these rivers, islands, and coastal plains. We offer our respects to their elders, past and present. It's also our tradition on a Shabbat morning to do a little bit of Torah study before we really get into our prayer. We'll have more time for sort of in-depth Torah study later, but we always want to start off a Shabbat morning service with just like a tiny little bit of Torah at least. This little bit of Torah will be, I will say, super tiny in terms of length, but super big in terms of, I believe, impact. We'll start with our Torah blessing in the middle of page 10. Say it together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. So these words of Torah, at the bottom of the page, we're going to read them together in Hebrew and then in English. This is from the prophet Hosea. Ve'erastichli le'olam. Ve'erastichli b'tzedek u'v'mishpat u'v'chesed u'v'rachamim. Ve'erastichli be'emunah Ve'yada'at et Adonai. I will betroth you to me forever. I will betroth you to me through social justice and rule of law, through acts of loving kindness and compassion. I will betroth you to me in mutual trust, and you will know Adonai. Page 13, second stanza. Expressing gratitude for the morning and all that it brings us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, second stanza. Asher natan nosech ve'vina lehafchin ben yom uben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach yithim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu cher olamim, malbish alumim. Page 14. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, sokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa li kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher hechid mitadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael bigvura. Page 15. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael bigvura v'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'ya'ef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, המעביר שינה מעיניי ותנומה מעפעפיי. removing sleep from my eyes and confusion from my mind. Taking an opportunity for a stretch, a yawn, whatever feels good. We are all waking up this morning and turning to page 18. In the middle of the page, we sing words of crying out, reaching out, whether it's for help, for strength, for energy, for healing, whatever it is that we need this morning. We're all crying out for something. We're doing it together, and hopefully this morning will bring some kind of response, some kind of answer, some feeling of connection and of being heard. Elecha Adonai Echad ve'el Adonai etchanan. Elecha Adonai Echad ve'el Adonai etchanan. Shema Page 19. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shembo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shembo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shembo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shembo, Baruch She'ama Tehaya Ha'olam, Baruch Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Omer Ve'oseh, Baruch Gozer U'mekayem, Baruch Merachem al haaretz, Baruch Merachem al habriyot, Baruch Meshalem tachato mireyav, Baruch Chai la'ad v'kayam la'netzach, Baruch Podeh u'matzil, Baruch Hu u'Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Let's turn to our handouts and read together Psalm 92, a song for Shabbat, this interpretive version by Shira Nayam Brisman. How good it is to sing praises in God's name, to declare loving kindness in the morning and faithfulness by night. These were the words sung by Adam and Eve after the first night, when darkness descended without warning or explanation, when they felt certainties slipping away and fearfulness encroaching on their dreams. But in the morning, dawn broke, and in gratitude they sang this song in amazement as they awoke to find they were in the garden on the first Shabbat day. Soon they would learn the full glories of God's garden and the work to be done, a trimming back of wild thoughts that mistake another silence for abandonment, the pruning of the myth that we do not have a choice, the weeding of overgrown traditions that need to be plucked, All this they would learn, but for now, a day of rest. Let this be my song for Shabbat. May the righteous flourish like a palm tree, grow like a cedar of Lebanon. In the house of God we shall flourish. We shall bear fruit, even in old age, always vigorous and sturdy as we sing. To seek godliness is just. Let it be my rock. Let me do no wrong. Page 29. אשרי יושבי ביתך, עוד יהללוך סלה. תהילה לדוד, אלוהימך אלוהי המלך, ועברך שמך לעולם ועד. גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין חקר. הדר כבוד הודיך, ודברי נפלותיך עשיך. זכר רב טובך יביעו, וצדקתך ירננו. טוב אדוני לכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו. כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. עיני כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אכלם בעיתו. צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו. רצון יראיו יעשה, את שבתם ישמע ויושיעם. תהילת אדוני ידבר פיו, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד. ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. Page 31. Page 32. חיה וכל בהמה, רמס ציפור גנה, מלכי ארץ וכל לאומים, שרים וכל שופטי הארץ, בחורים וגם בתולות, זקנים עם תארים. והללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו, אותו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן לעמו. תהילה לבוא חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם קרובו. הללויה, הללויה, הללו, Page 33. The final psalm in our Psuke de Zimra, our warm up into our service. An opportunity to do whatever it is we need to do physically or mentally to sort of put whatever else there is away and just like be present this morning. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, el bikutsho. Hallelujah, bilkia uzo. Hallelujah, bikuruta. Page 35. נשמת כל חי תברך את שמך, אדוני אלוהינו ברוך הוא. מן העולם ועד העולם אתה אל נרדכנו. אין לנו אלך אלא אתה. לך לבדך אנחנו מודים. Middle of page 36. Ilulu, 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 filulu, malele shirakayam. Ilulu, filulu. about these words, if we devoted all of our energies to thanking you, if we thanked you beyond all of our capacities, going on to just describe all the ways in which we could do beyond what is physically possible for us to express gratitude for our Creator, for creation, for life, for people around us, we couldn't possibly really do it all justice. We can't really do it. I still think it's an opportunity, singing these words, to think about what is a little bit more that we could do to express our gratitude, to express our love, to express our joy for life, for the people around us, for nature, for God. As we continue on page 37, 38, 39, maybe taking that time to think about there's nothing we can do to fully express all the gratitude that could be shown, but what little bit more could we do? ברכי נפשי את אדוני ובוחר את שם קודשו. האל פצצמות מזכה, כל שמך ולא נצח, ונרנתך המלך היושב, על כיסא רם ונישא. page 39. שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו, וכתוב אני לא צדיקים page 40. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול הקדוש שמיים וארץ. ברכות והדרות מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדוני נפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמחה, מלך אל חיי העולמים. Please rise in body or in spirit on page 41. יתגדל ויתקדש שמך בה, ועמד יברח יוצא להמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה זמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמך במברך לעולם עולם מעמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא, יתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי לקודשה ויחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעמה ואמרו אמן. Taking a moment, as we join together as a minyan. We've got a small but mighty one, an actual one, a full one. Just taking a moment to maybe introduce yourselves to the folks around you, give a Shabbat Shalom, say hi to folks you know, introduce yourself to folks you don't. Call to prayer, page 42. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uboreh choshen, oseh shalom, shalom uboreh hakol, yotzer or uboreh choshen, oseh shalom, shalom uboreh hakol. הכל יודוך באור ישלחוך בכל יום רואין קדוש כאדוני, הכל יום חסר לה יוצר הכל. page 45. אל אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך וכי כל נשמה גודלו וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונדר וכבוד עם הכבוד זהות ומישור לפני חיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שבא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת לבינה ופסקי כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נעזיבם בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים בהם הרצון קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמות צולה ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש היזרח אורה והתקין צורת הבנה שבח נותנים לו כל צבא העם תפארת וגדולה שרפים באופנים בחיות הקודש תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו ברך קדושים ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים וכולם עושים במעל רצון כולם וכולם בוטחים בפיהם בקדושת תורה בשירה וזמרה ומברכים משבחים ומפארים ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא הקדוש הוא וכולם מקבלים עליהם או מלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש יוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ונעימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים בהירה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כבודו מהו פנים בחיות הקודש ורעש גדול מנסים לעומת צרפים לעומתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו לאל ברוך נעמות ייתנו. Sing at the bottom of the page. Oh, Chadash, Hatzion Ta'ir. Oh, Chadash, Hatzion Ta'ir. V'nizkechu lanu, v'nizkechu lanu, me'era le'oro. ונזכרו לנו מהרה לאור ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. On page 49, we find words of love, unconditional love, love that we feel, and love that we show through mitzvot, through Torah, through commandments, through commitments, through obligations. So maybe an opportunity to reflect on an act that we've taken over the past week or this Shabbat, or maybe that we're preparing to take, a mitzvah or an act of, any act of obligation or commitment that shows our love. I think sometimes we can get bogged down in our obligations bogged down in the things we feel commanded to do, thinking about the nitty-gritty of them and not the love that's behind them. So what are we doing? Because we have to. But that really shows our love, and that helps us to receive love as well. That may be some of what this is about. Ahava rabba, ahavtanu, ahava rabba, ahavtanu, ahava rabba, ahavtanu, ahava rabba, ahavtanu. Middle of the page. והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה ויראה את שמך, ולא נבוש לעולם ועד, ולא הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אפול ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת עבודתך, והרבתנו לשמך הגדול, סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהי עמו ישראל. Page 51. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, ושיטתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשתם לאות ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם ומזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. So typically we would daven this next section silently, but in honor of and with hopes for the United Nations Climate Change Conference, I'd like to read the next section together aloud in English on page 52. If you pay close attention to my commandments that I am teaching you today, to love Adonai your God and to serve God with all your heart and with all your being, then I will provide rain for your land on time. the early rain and the late rain, so that you may gather your grain, your wine, and your oil. I will provide grass in your field for your cattle, so you will eat and be satisfied. Do not let your heart be seduced. Do not stray from the path. Worship other gods and serve them. If you do, Adonai will be angry with you, and will keep the waters up in the heavens, so that the rain will not fall, and the earth will not yield its produce. Then you will quickly perish from the good land which Adonai is giving you. Therefore keep these words of mine in your mind and your soul. Tie them on your hand as a reminder, and also between your eyes. Teach them to your children, speaking of them when you are at home, when you are away, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, so that you and your children will flourish on the land that Adonai promised your ancestors for as many days as the heavens remain above the earth. Adonai Elohechem Emet. This has been the case for a while now, but with this Climate Change Conference going on, it certainly is a reminder of the ways in which we're at this precipice, not knowing what will come before us, knowing that it will certainly be a rough journey at this point, like there's no question about that, but that there are things that we can do as an international community to change our fate. And in the Torah, when our ancestors found themselves at a moment like that, the precipice of finding their freedom and trying to figure out what that meant and exactly what kind of freedoms they had, exactly how much power they had, what they could do, and how they could mobilize themselves as a society. The words they sang, Mi Chamocha, we'll find them on page 57. We'll sing them together right now. Ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha bedar ba'kodesh Torah tehilot osef eleh Torah tehilot osef eleh Shira chadasha shivru ulim leshimcha al tzafat hayam Kachad kulam kodveim lechu ve'amru Adonai yimnoch le'olam va'ed. So we're on the triennial system in our community, which means that we don't read the entire Torah portion every single week. We read either the first third of it, the middle, we read from the first third of it, from the middle third of it, or from the last third of it, which means that like every year when this part of the Torah comes around, our community doesn't always chant from it. This year we do. This year, when we get to the Song of the Sea, Mi Chamocha, we will chant it from the Torah. I'm just saying this because there's still time to sign up to be the lucky person to chant that. So, if you've been getting my Chant Torah emails, you can sign up. If you haven't been and you want to slip in there, let me know and I can start sending you those emails. I know a lot of you do, but some of you don't, so let me know if you want to be part of that. In just a second, we'll rise for the Amidah, for our opportunity to at first daven together all with the same words and then sort of go into our own thoughts, our own feelings, or separately, silently into the words on the page. We're going to face Jerusalem. Even for folks live streaming, I'm going to assume that's east. For us, that's this way. So rise in body or in spirit at the bottom of page 57 for the Amidah. No matter where we are, all facing towards the same direction, trying to make some space for our Amidah. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתחנו מלכה, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. אדוני שפתי תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, אלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אהבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אז בקור השקדו, אדיר וחזק משביעים קול, מתנסים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון, וקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נצח נצחים. ואין עדות תראינה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא גמוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני, Ha'er HaKadosh. We continue silently. Continue at your own pace, or have a seat when you're ready. We'll gather together on page 73. Words of peace, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom Milomah, Uya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Be'al Yisrael, Be'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imhu Imhu, take a moment of transition before we prepare for the Torah service. Page 74, rise in body or in spirit. Yitzkadav yitzvah shdem abba, yam ari v'lachutze v'yamich v'chutze, v'chayechol v'yom achon, v'chayei b'chol bet Yisrael, v'agalav b'zman gari v'imahu, amen. Yeshmecha v'mevarach, le'alam olam me'amaya, yitbarach. יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהר, שמי לקודשה בריחו. לעילם ינקוב ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, ואמירן בעלמה ואימרו, אמן. תתכפר זאת ונובעתון, דרכו בית ישראל, קדם אברהם ובישמעיה ואימרו, אמן. יהי שלום עליו בן שמעיה, וחיים עלינו בערכו ישראל ואימרו, אמן. עושה שלום עממה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו בערכו ישראל. Amen. You may be seated. So, because we have such a small but mighty minion here this morning. Assume you'll have a role in the Torah service in some way, if that's okay. But that can mean several different things. So we're going to need folks to open the ark. We're going to need someone to carry our Torah around. That should be someone post the name mitzvah age. Opening the ark does not have to be. We're going to need someone, so we already have people lined up to chant Torah. We're going to need someone to do Havurah, to lift the Torah. Looking at the person I know who's I've seen do it before. Amazing. We're going to need someone to dress the Torah, or someone's, not anyone. And we also will need people to bless the Torah for the 3 blessings. So first, and by the way, like for the 3 aliyot, these are group aliyot, so as many people as want to could come up. Also, I can definitely envision a scenario in which like all 3 aliyot apply to you. So if that's the case, you could pick multiple aliyot. First of all, does anyone want to bench Gomel this morning? That would be if you have recently been through some like serious illness or a surgery or like a car accident, something dangerous that you have survived. Anyone in that situation? No? Thank God. Okay. So in that case, our first aliyah is for folks who are celebrating a simcha, whether you've got like a birthday around this time, an anniversary, a new job. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so you've got at least one person for that. Think about if this applies to you. We'll have more people. Okay, amazing. For our second aliyah, this is going to be for folks who want to take an aliyah for healing, whether for your own healing or for the healing of a loved one. If you want to send a loved one or yourself some healing vibes with an aliyah, that second one will be for you. And the third one is for people, I'll explain why later, for people who are feeling spread thin. If you are having to prioritize, aka like deprioritize as well, if there's like not quite enough of you to go around right now, you want to come to the aliyah, come take an aliyah, an acknowledgement of that reality. Sometimes that is the case. If you're feeling spread thin, the third aliyah is for you. Okay, I'll explain why later. But for now, we need ark opener or ark openers. That could be like 1 or 2 people. Anyone? Marlene, beautiful. We need a Torah carrier. David, awesome. We need also doing Havurah, amazing. Torah dresser or dressers. Anyone who wants to come up to dress the Torah. You don't have to be B'nai Mitzvah age yet, so that could be like a good thing for like a parent-child duo. Yeah, beautiful. Thanks, Hazel. Okay, and I think that is going to cover us. I'll find out in a moment who's taking the aliyot, so think about this. Okay. Page 75, Marlene, if you want to come up, we're not opening the ark just yet, but we will in a moment. Ein kamocha Elokim Adonai ve'ein kama'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor vador Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Ava rachamim, etziva v'rtzonecha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki becha levad batachnu, melech eram benisa, Adon olamim. Please rise as you are able, as the ark is opened. Vayehi binso Aharon, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, ve'af אויביך וינוסו משנאיך מפניך, כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. Middle of page 77. Be'anarachet Velishme Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Ana Emaltu Shvechan Be'anarachet Be'anarachet Velishme Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Ana Emaltu Shvechan Yehera Avakadamach Tetiftach Libi Be'oraita Vetashli Mishalin Delibi Veliba Dechol Amach Yisrael Letavu Chayin Velishlam. Amen.
Which one?
Let's do the one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachtav. Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod. Ki hu b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki hu b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlecha v'hamitnaseh lechol lerosh romemu. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, ve'yishachavu lehadom raglav kadoshu. Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, ve'yishachavu lehakodoshu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. All right, so you can have a seat. In our Chumash, in our Torah commentary, you can follow along on page 180. We're on Parshat Toldot, Genesis chapter 27. Joe will be chanting beginning with verse 28. And this is sort of the I think, happy part of the parsha, of this section of the parsha. We're gonna get a little bit dark, a little sad in a moment, but for now, let's just focus on this beautiful blessing that Yaakov Avinu, that our ancestor Jacob was given. That's where we are for these verses, starting with verse 28. So, if you've got a simcha that you like to celebrate with an aliyah, David, do you want to share?
Wedding anniversary coming up soon.
Mazel, which one?
48 years.
Woo! Beautiful, amazing. All right.
I got
and
a
Joe.
first day.
Yeah? When?
17th of November.
Amazing. Okay, mazel tov to both of you. This is perfect. And tell me your Hebrew names.
David Ben Leib.
David ben Leib.
Yosef ben Dover.
יעמדו דוד בן לב ויוסף בן דובר לעלייה הראשונה.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל עמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן.
אמן. ויתן לך אלוהים מטל השמיים ומשמני הארץ ובעוב דגן ותירוש. יעבדוך עמים וישתחוו לך לעמים. הרי גיבור לאחיך וישתחוו לך בני אמך. ארורך רוח ומברך ברוך. ויהי כאשר תהילה יצחק לברך את יעקב. ויהי אך יצא יעקב מפני יצחק אביו, ועשו אחיו באו מצדו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בכפינו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yasher koach. Beautiful. Thank you. One or both of you will come stand over here. Although if one or both of you would like, I mean, only one of you, but if one of you would like to gabbai sheni for me, I might need it. So it should, yeah. Brilliant. So our second aliyah, this is going to get hard because this is when Esau, he comes up and he asks for his blessing, which he theoretically should be getting. And his father, Isaac, realizes that he did not just bless the child he thought he was blessing. And Esau starts to realize that things are going terribly wrong for him. So this is an opportunity to make space for some pain, an acknowledgement of the healing that is needed in the world, in our community, and among people we love. So if you would like to come take this aliyah to send some healing vibes towards a loved one, towards yourself, come on up, and I'll call you to the Torah, and we can try to take this pain and bring some healing into it. I should know your Hebrew name by now, but I'm going to ask before we get it.
It's Gloria, Avraham, Sarah, Delmar, and Betty.
B'chuya Avniel, Bat Avraham, V'Sara, V'Delmar, V'Betty, L'Aliyah HaSheni.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bachar Banu Im Kol Ha'amim V'Natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Amen. V'ya'as gam hu ma'atamim. Ve'avo לאביו, ויאמר לאביו, יקום אבי ויאכל מצד בנו, בעברו תברכני נפשך, ויאמר לו יצחק אביו, מי אתה? ויאמר אני בנך בכורך עשיו, ויחרד יצחק חרדה גדולה עד מאוד, ויאמר מאיפה hu hatzad sa'id, vayavoli, v'ochal mikol b'telem tavo, v'avachehu, gam bahu yeh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'zachenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you. Let's take some time now for our Mishaberach L'cholim, our blessing for healing. If anyone would like to bring some names into the room, folks you're thinking of who are in need of healing, you're welcome to do so.
John and Martin.
All the folks on our minds and all the folks in this room who are in need of some sort of healing. You can find the words at the bottom of the first page of the handout. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeach imotenu mekol habracha. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. All right, for our final aliyah, Genesis 27, beginning with verse 34. Lori is going to be chanting for us. And this is when Esau asks his father, have you but one blessing, father? Like, do you really have just this one blessing you gave to Jacob? Is there something left for me? And his father, Isaac, basically answers like, that's the only blessing I have like that. I am spread really thin here. But he does give Esau some sort of blessing. He gives him something. So this aliyah is for people who are feeling spread thin and trying to mete out the blessings. If you are overextended this month, this time of year, come on up. This is an aliyah for you. Shabbat.
Laser v'malkas.
Ta'amod Shabbat lezel v'malka Esther v'aliyah hashemit.
Baruch et Adonai Havurah.
Baruch Adonai Baruch le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Kishmawa eshad et divrei aviv, vayitzak tzaka, gedola umara ad me'od, vayomer aviv, barcheni gamani aviv, vayomer אחיך במרמה, ויקח ברכתך, ויאמר אחי, קרא שמו יעקב, ויקבני זה פעמיים, את בכורתי לקח, והנה אתה לקח ברכתי. ויאמר הלא עצלת לי, עצלת לי ברכה, ויען יצחק, ויאמר לעשו, הן גביר, שמתיו לך ואת כל אחיו, נתתי לו לעבדים בדגן ותירוש, שמחתיו, ולכל איפה מה אעשה בני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach, yasher koach. You can have a seat. So, the Aliyah ends with Isaac asking his son, like, I already gave everything I have. What am I supposed to do? And then he answers the question for himself after that, and he finds he does have something else to give. So may that be the case for all of us when we are in Yitzchak's position. All right, so let's take a moment to do some Torah study with the Torah out in front of us before we return the Torah to the Ark. And I hope everyone has their handout. And Emerson, are you able to see any live stream comments? If/as they happen. Yeah? So live stream it and you can be a part of the conversation. Emerson, can you be their advocate and raise your hand if one of them comments, has something to say? Okay, so Emerson is going to be the voice box of the live stream people. Speaking of the live stream, over here. Okay, let's see how this works. on the minds of many folks in our community, many Jews around this area and the wider world. This has been a tough time lately, just even in the last couple of weeks. We read the schmoozy news yesterday, or maybe saw this in the news. A Torah scroll, not a kosher Torah, but a Torah scroll nevertheless, was desecrated at a fraternity just a couple miles away at GW last weekend. There have been plenty of other instances of anti-Semitic words, deeds, just in this area alone in the last few weeks, and it's been painful. I first just want to start off by asking, just like to take the temperature of the room, like, to what extent has anti-Semitism been on your mind or in your heart lately? Is this at the top of your mind? Is this something that you're thinking about? How are you feeling when I'm bringing up the topic?
I confess I'm more worried about the redistricting and how that's bringing up a lot of racist stuff.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
I mean, I am aware of what you're talking about,
But it's not the front, when you think of like stuff to be afraid of, that's not at the forefront. Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Think about the anniversary of what happened in the Tree of Life Synagogue just a couple of weeks
Just a
ago.
couple weeks ago, yeah. Believe you.
yeah.
I can't help wondering how many people will think that the desecration of the admittedly non-kosher Torah scroll was just a college prank.
Yeah, and that,
Without understanding where the trigger is.
right. Chris, you've been really right to focus on that. Yeah. So, I want to share these words. Actually from the beginning of this week's Parsha, which, like, really the whole Parsha long, not just the drama that we just read with Jacob and Esau, but really the whole thing is like a struggle of difference and like who's gonna have the upper hand. Like there is pain since before Jacob and Esau are born around. There's gonna be an upper hand. Who's gonna have the upper hand? We're not just gonna be like brothers holding hands. Like there's gonna be some, and honestly, when you're talking about redistricting, you're talking about race, like who's gonna be on top? Like this is an issue from the womb, literally. Isaac pleaded with Adonai on behalf of his wife because she was barren. Like they just want babies. They just want like to procreate and have like grow their family in that way. And Adonai responded to his plea, and his wife Rivka conceived. You'd think we'd be singing like Simcha up here, and this would be like the joyful moment. They've been struggling with infertility. Finally, she's pregnant, but the children struggled in her womb. And she said, "If so, why do I exist? Imken lama zeh anochi. If so, why is this me? Why do I exist?" She went to inquire of Adonai, and Adonai answered her, "Two nations are in your womb. Two separate peoples shall issue from your body. One people shall be mightier than the other, and the older shall serve the younger." For me, I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts. it could just be that. It could just be like carrot twins.
Oh, yeah.
Is it fair to extrapolate this idea, like, we're sitting here, like, looking out at a world in which, like, anti-Semitism exists, and in which racism exists, and in which homophobia and transphobia and all this hate exists, and we're just like, so why do I exist? Like if this is gonna happen, like, what, I mean, it feels existentially exhausting, confusing, and miserable. I really feel like that quote, like, captures so much of that pain. Yeah.
There's a very brief thing near the end, I think it's the end of this passage, where Jacob is running away, and the text tells us that Rivka watched, and it says, Rivka, mother of Jacob and Esau. And that's the one that always, like, really breaks my heart, because it doesn't even have to be like a rivalry. It's like really hard to have two different things going on in your household. It's hard to live in a city where there are two different narratives going on. It is hard to live in an interfaith world where we think we're so, like, it's just hard to be the mother of two things, two entities, and to humans who are in conflict. It's, it is very heartbreaking. So, somehow, like, I don't know, the whole portion, I think, is kind of bookended by this, just heartbreaking.
Well put. I hadn't thought of that. That's such a theoretically simple thing, but it's so loaded. Thanks for bringing that up. Did I see a hand over here?
On the other hand, we are a tribal species. There's always been an us and a them. So, this is in a way natural. It's part of our nature to seek out our own. And that becomes us versus them.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. It's interesting, like, when you think of, like, the Torah scroll that was desecrated, like, if all of the fraternity brothers had the tradition of, like, swearing, I think they used it for, like, swearing into their fraternity in the same way, if instead of, like, I'm not, like, a Greek life person, but, like, for people who want to take it seriously, I don't know. I guess, honestly, it seems like a kind of Christian custom of, like, swearing on a Bible, and so then they're like, okay, but, like, not everyone here is Christian. Let's bring in Torah. I think, like, the intention is really wealthy of, like, let's, like, bring in some options because we're not all Christian here. If they had just used either the most, common symbol, like a Christian Bible, or if they had used some kind of, like, religiously neutral symbol, there wouldn't have been the opportunity for a Torah school to be desecrated there. And so that impetus that we have towards, like, no, like, let's do our thing. Let's, like, do the thing that is, like, do our thing with our tribe that makes these hard things, possible, but at the same time, like, again, I'm not a Greek life person. I don't know, but, like, I'm trying to operate within that mindset. That's, I imagine that creates a lot of meaningful moments for members of that fraternity, and they kind of do, I believe, push the Torah scroll related to them now, so they're going to have a lot more. They lock it up. When a colleague of mine, Rabbi Seth Goldstein's congregation experienced a hate crime, he wrote this prayer for healing, which you can find here. And I think it's really beautiful and full of lessons for how we might respond after a hate crime, and also, like, how we might want to think about hate crimes directed towards us and our people in general. So maybe let's read together. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotinu ve'imotinu, our God and God of our ancestors. Hate has been visited upon in the middle of page 83, and I'd like to invite up our Torah lifter, sorry here, and our Torah dressers. Du hamagvia v'hagolelot, וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 ציווה לנו משה. Yasher Koach, have a seat, Yasher Koach, page 92. Etzrayim hi, l'malchazim ba, v'tomheha me'usha, te'aleha, ta'chenom, v'chol netivotzeha, shalom, hashivenu Adonai, elecha v'nashuva, chadesh, chadesh yamenu, chadesh yamenu, egedem. You may be seated. I'd like to invite Marlene Singer to offer some announcements before we conclude our service.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We have a very exciting program tonight. We have a campfire out front with singing and Havdalah, of course, in person at 6:30. So please come. I think it'll be lots of fun. This coming Monday is the teen Tikkun Olam program in person and outdoors at 5. And then next Shabbat, we have quite a busy morning and afternoon. We have a meditation and Torah study at 8:45 on Zoom, a Tat Shabbat in person outdoors at 10, and then something new, and you're going to see a lot of new programming now that we're done with the holidays, an interfaith Thanksgiving service, and that's Reformation
Right up front.
Mount Moriah, is
yes,
that right?
yeah.
And our congregation out front at 1:30 next Shabbat. And we're really looking forward to that. There's lots more programs in Shmoozy and on our website. I'm not gonna, it's hard to remember from week to week, so I'm not gonna bother with them, but I just want to point out first of all, thank Emerson and Vera for the live stream. Also point out that we have some really exciting, interesting programs coming up, and I'm just going to highlight 2 of them. One is called Life After Hate. I think that program will be in, David, is that February? And we are going to, over Zoom, is that correct?
Via Zoom, we'll have 2 formers, that's the word they use to describe themselves, formers, people who have been for many years members of violent far-right extremist groups, have left it, and now talk about their experiences. We'll hear from one of the directors of Life After Hate, who will talk about risk factors, and 2 of these formers, as they call them,
Thanks, David. And then we're also having we're doing a new program during the winter. We're going to be offering the opportunity for you to learn about the importance of and make your own tallis. That's 2 parts, right? Lori is helping with that. 2 parts. Do you want to say anything about that?
2 Sunday afternoons in January, and you get to make your own tallis and learn all about tallising.
And I just want to encourage you to think about attending, even if you have a tallis. You can make one to match a different set of clothes. You can make a different weight so that it's either warmer or not as warm as the tallis that you already have. And I just want to say, like, I made this one as part of a tallis making workshop, and the best part of it, and it's a really spiritual thing, to learn how to tie the tzitzit, because there's a special way to tie them, and we will be learning that at the workshop. So watch for those announcements. We haven't started announcing them yet, but I thought this was a good opportunity to talk about them. So welcome, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Marlene. Shabbat shalom. Turn to page 107. Ein Eloheinu, ein Kadoneinu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Moshienu, mi Eloheinu, mi Kadoneinu, mi Kemalkeinu, mi Moshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adoneinu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. We rise in body or in spirit on page 108 for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו וגובר לאומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום בחשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated. And before we turn our thoughts to the loved ones of those present, the mourner's Kaddish, we have a tradition now in our community of sharing the names of the members of the Washington, D.C. community whose lives were taken by gun violence and homicide in the last month. So in just the past week, D.C. lost to homicide Eric Cooper, Donnell Myers, Shatia Taylor, Cynthia Behringer, and Cecil Morris. And we're still in the period of Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period for Tamika Johnson, Gary Stanley Sr., Andre Robertson, Rufus Davis, Aaron Wiggins, Talia Wright, Takesha Thomas, Lester Mangum, Giovanni Lovelace, Luther Brooks, Robert DuPont, Michael Stroups, Noel Prince Nicole, Devontae Waters, Antonia McAllister, Danielle Stuckey, Dominique Graham, DeAndre Johnson, Sharon Robinson, Michael Phillip Johnson, Malik Bullock, Marquise Jones, Lakeisha Waller-Henderson, Angela White-Hooks, Aaron Langford, Demetrius Evan, Keon Bonner. May their memories be for a blessing. And may we work as a community to disrupt the systems of violence that take so many lives, too many lives in certain sectors of our society. So in our community, members of our congregation are observing the yard sites of Morton Schlesinger, father of Scott Schlesinger, Gerald S. Cohen, brother of Phyllis Schlesinger, Larry Michaels, the father of Dia Michaels, and Daniel Adler Goldsmith, the brother of David Goldsmith. If you're observing a yard site I didn't just name, or if you're in mourning, you experienced a loss in the past year, I invite you to rise and share the names of the folks you're remembering.
This month is the yard site, like 15th, I think, of my mother Betty's house.
Mourner's Cottage is on page 111. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח יוצא וימליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, ועגלה ובזמן קריב. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהלל ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה לכולם. ואלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמינם בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום מנעמיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen. You may be seated. Let's sing the back of our little pages one more time. Ahava v'rachamim chesed v'shalom. Ahava v'rachamim chesed v'shalom. I am love, I am compassionate, I am kind, I am whole. Ahava v'rachamim chesed v'shalom. All right, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you to everyone who played a role in the service. I think that's pretty much everyone in one way or another. Let's gather over there for blessings for grape juice, wine, challah. Thank you so much, Farah and Risen, for setting it up. And live streamers, I'm going to say, Lee Stroke, see you later, and Shabbat Shalom.